I think it made me also realize that I'm sort of in a unique boat where I did watch a lot of movies from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I feel like, you talk to a lot of people from our generation, and old school Bollywood to them would be like 95, DDLJ.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, like Borosan, 1968, right? And so I realized that I was kind of unique in that regard. But then a lot of it just kind of came, like, I always saw, like, obviously, like, I think like a lot of things, like Bollywood also has its problems and problematic in some ways, and it needs a little bit of a fix and reset, but not everything about it is bad, right? And I think there's a couple of times where I found the charm in Bollywood, and I'm like, you know what, this was, I'm glad I am who I am. Even just like the chichorapan, like the sleazeballs in Bollywood, like I'd be able to kind of identify with that a little bit and add that a little bit to my personality. I hope I'm not an actual sleaze. Like I'm, I didn't do the perverse things.
We all want to be Imran Hashmi, all right? Like sleazeball on screen, but model human off screen. Okay.
Yeah. So it would kind of help me become this.
No one ever
caricature of myself, if anything.
That's cool.
Now, to be on the record, I don't agree with MK with what he just said. You're in your own boat. I love Imran Hashmi. He's a good boy. No, I'm not going to say that.
Imran Hashmi is I don't know what you're talking about. He's such an upstanding citizen.
Come up at the bottom of the screen when we edit this.
These views are not to be taken out of context.
Not Shaam Ki Chai views. They are not MA views. Okay, so how much does media shape culture, or do you think culture shapes media? I know it's a chicken and egg question. I have a very strong opinion on this, but what do you guys think?
I mean, that's interesting, right? But I think media shapes culture. I mean, if you look, I think this is one of the things I learned while we wrote Bollywood for Dummies. Like the way that like everything is just influenced by media, whether it be different types of music, different types of songs, different types of movies, different types of characters. Let's just think about like in the 70s. How much, but then I'm actually going to make the counter argument against myself right after this. But in the 70s, like how much India kind of grew, or actually, let's go back to like partition, right? Like the media that came right after partition was very like based on what was happening in real life. It was talking about how people were kind of undergoing, economic hardships, their societal kind of class differences that were really, really kind of evident during that time. So I guess in that sense, culture really defined media. But then in like the 70s, as like Amitabh kind of developed this persona and like the bad boy, the rebel, the guy with a chip on his shoulder, that became kind of like the working class like hero. And that's who people kind of modeled themselves and their personalities after was to be like Amitabh. And then I think about the 90s and like Shah Rukh kind of dominated, everything around that time. And everyone kind of modeled their like relationships, or that's what everyone was thinking. I feel like in my perspective.
Whenever we have these like uprising or these movements that are occurring, like whether it's like a feminist movement, whether it's the LGBTQ movement, right? I mean, that's happening within the culture, and then you start to see that permeate on screen. And now we're starting to see even in Hollywood like such an influx of more brown people on screen, more diversity, right? And I think that is starting to occur even in Bollywood as well, right? I mean, if you look at a lot of the women and how they're portrayed on screen, during those decoy films, the masala films like the 70s and 80s that Amitabh was the angry young man. I mean, those women were either maternal figures or they were just damsels in distress. And I think there was very few seeds that were being planted where women were starting to be a little bit more bold, whether they were, and, not to say this is necessarily the best way to do it, but whether they're like sexualized or whether they were just deemed as the chalak ones, etc., right, that like went away. You started seeing those seeds planted, and that only like continued to increase as the people started like speaking out more a little bit as well. So.
How much do you think media plays a role in perpetuating this idea that violence against women is okay, especially with everything going on in Pakistan right now? And by the time this episode releases, I mean, I don't know how much more violence or less violence we'll be seeing, but like, do you think Pakistani media has a hand in that and a responsibility to fix it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
100%. I think 100%. I think back to, and like, no offense to my daddy, but you talk to people from the previous generation, and the way that they have kind of defined gender roles in their head, and the way that they believe that women especially should be treated, it's like almost it's not just the men. Like it's an entire culture. It's an entire like generation that truly believes that like a woman's place is beneath a man, and like they are subservient or whatever, like the kind of backwards thinking might be. And that's just how that was perpetuated by the media. Like if you go back and watch those Pakistani dramas from back in the day, it's often the women that are like portrayed as bad, or like they're bad because they're not serving their husband, or they are the ones who are like causing hardship in the household because they're like chalak or whatever, right? And instead of it's kind of like that's the whole problem with domestic violence or violence against women in general, is that we have people like Imran just excusing it away rather than proactively asking men to do better. And that's been the problem for not just in Pakistan. I think it's where it's worst right now. Pakistan and India, but
Absolutely.
In the West, we're just now starting to say it as well, right? The Me Too kind of movement is really what like pushed that to the forefront and said, hey, the problem with rape culture isn't that, there's all these other things, but the biggest thing is that we keep blaming women instead of blaming men, and proactively educating them and teaching them how to be better about it. And I think that's a huge problem in the media in Pakistan, especially in India as well.
The scary part about media really having an effect on the people is that it doesn't matter how educated you are. It doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah.
Even like the most intelligent people can be swayed.
Yes.
Right. And so I think like some like MK was like alluding to, that a lot of just the way that women are depicted in Pakistani dramas, etc., that bleeds through in actual family life. And it's just like, the woman shouldn't do this. Women should behave this way. They should move in with the her husband's family and take care of the mother. It's like nowhere in Islam even it says, like the Prophet literally said, he's like,
very
the wife should have her own place.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the fact that you blend that together too, it's just like, where did this even come from? Right. And I mean, that's why you had when Mere Paas Tum Ho came out in, what was it, 2019 or 2020?
Oh, Lord,
that's why there was a huge uprising, because all the women were like, dude, like, why are the women always like the people
portrayed like
that
this, right?
Everyone that are portrayed as in like and there might even be some like negative roles of men even in that, but they're all perpetuated and they become like the pawns of like the ultimate puppet master, which is like the woman that's trying to get to the family.
When a man does something wrong, it's never his fault. But when he does something, and
then because it's men always get the benefit of that, because then it's like, women are smarter in these regards. The man, he was just swayed by the woman. It's like, it is a guy could also have a backbone and be held accountable.
It's totally bakwas. They're not held accountable, and like that. It's so terrible what's going on right now in Pakistan, right? And like it's been going on forever. It's just now coming to the forefront. It's not like this is some new thing. It's not like we didn't know about acid attack survivors before. There's whole documentaries about this topic, about honor killings, about stonings in Pakistan. Like it's 2021, and we're just now getting to the point where some people, not even a lot of people, some people are starting to, Okay, so Anum, again, is like literally the driving force behind everything that we do. Clearly, me and Maaz are useless. Without her, we would be lost. 100%. So we give like so much props to Anum. She really is like a huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
We both almost married her just jointly because she does so much for both of us. Just kidding. There's only one Maaz in her life. But yeah, she had co-wrote or co-edited Twitter for Dummies. Okay. So she had contacts with Wiley, and we basically just pitched the idea to them. We're like, hey, we think this is a great thing. Bollywood is getting more. It's a huge industry, obviously, across the world. And there's a lot of people who are becoming more interested in Indian culture as of late. They keep taking our turmeric and our yoga and everything else. Bollywood it's just a matter of time before. And it's crazy because if you go on TikTok, right? Like, okay, Tesher kind of blew up with Jalebi Baby and stuff like that. But I don't know if you guys know about like the Basement Gang or whatever. It's just like the 3 black guys who dance in their basement and they go viral with the dances. They've started dancing to like Chenya Chenya and it goes viral, and it's crazy.
Or Ricky Pond, the random old white dude that just does like Mohari, and he's so cute.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So Bollywood is pervasive in Western culture and is getting more and more so. So we just thought it's time. Like someone needs to write about this, because honestly, it's kind of weird to us that there isn't like a source where you can just kind of go, like you go to Wikipedia page, but you won't really learn that much about Bollywood.
Okay.
We thought there was a better way to present it and make it fun and interesting for people of all different levels. Like you could be someone who's never seen a Bollywood movie and there's something in the book for you for sure. We have like lists that basically list out like, here's where you should start. Here's some movies that will definitely like kind of clue you into what Bollywood culture is like.
Nice.
And then there's like, I mean, we are huge Bollywood fans and I learned so much writing the book, you know, editing like some of the chapters that Maaz wrote. Like I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that about this kind of stuff. So there's something in it for everyone for sure.
Well, this has by far been the most entertaining interview that I've done in the last 2 seasons. But before I wrap up, the show is called Shaam Ki Chai. So I want to hear about the Shaam Ki Chai traditions in your home. What did you eat? What did you talk about? Who did you have it with? And so MK, you are the winner. So I'll start off with you.
Nice. Yeah, my family drinks chai. It used to be when we were growing up. If you go to Karachi, you'll know that Karachi log drink chai 16 times a day. It's the little pyali. Yeah, just what are we doing? Chai pite.
The saucer.
Yeah. Only if you're in a rush.
My dad did the saucer. Yes.
My dad did the saucer. I was like, Dad, we have to leave in 2 minutes. This coffee or this chai just came off the stove. He's like, wait, pour it in and just slurp it down. I was like, how did you do that in 2 minutes?
He just poured it on himself.
Injected it into his veins. I've got a drip of chai. Don't worry. So yeah, at my house, at this point, it's kind of twice a day in the morning and the evening. But like my parents are big nappers. Okay. So every day around like 6:30, everyone wakes up from their nap after the lunch kind of itis, and then we always had like cake rusk. Was a big snack. Not a lot of Parle G's, but we had some kind of biscuit, that we would be eating.
Sure.
Yeah. But my parents drink chai, very plain, just genie. That's it.
Nice.
I prefer my chai with a little, added flavors, a little cardamom, a little, sometimes masala is okay, but for the most part, just normal stuff.
Okay. All right. MA, wrap it up. What kind of
loser number 2? So I got I got my dirty chai here, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, ganda.
So that is the bid'ah, if you will, that I've added to my chai game. But growing up, I honestly, I was being the youngest of the family. I don't think my mother ever took me seriously as like a chai drinker. I feel like she still doesn't really she's still a little apprehensive about like making everybody else a cup. And then I'm always being the last one to get like the residue in the tub. I don't know why. I think it's just residue of how she still like perceives me. Oh, you're a butcha.
You sure it's chai?
Yeah. At that point, it's just tin that I'm drinking. Yeah, I mean, it's always it was a mid-afternoon chai and then a post-dinner chai, and that's what would occur. And then now in my married life, Anam is a big chai drinker. She has it like once or twice a day. Nice. And the innovation, like I said, that me and my mother have is mixing a little bit of coffee with our chai, because I'm also a big coffee drinker. So and we've always kept it simple too, just regular chai, a little bit of chini. I'm waning off chini. Anam actually makes me when she gives me chai, she puts in honey and she excluded chai or sugar altogether. So she's worried about my veins and my blood sugar levels, and I love her for that.
That's
God,
awesome.
What a loving wife.
Wah, kya baat hai.
I'm a filthy lover boy.
Thank you so much, you guys, for taking.
Kya baat hai aapka? I mean, you live next to an airport.
Talia.
I haven't heard one airplane. I don't know how you stop them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they know. They're like, hey, these are going on. Stop it.
Don't lie. You gave them a little call. You're like, hey, listen, guys, I need an hour.
Everybody
shut up.
Person, okay? I've got like 3,000 followers. You need to.
Thank you so much for having us, Nitasha. This was so much fun.
Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Please allow us to come back if we are worthy.
Oh my God. Yeah. When I actually have a studio and I can fly people in, you guys are like
profesh.
You are doing the big talks.
The big talk. I think we need you to come on Desi Standard Time. I think that's the way we actually need to get this done.
I think that's the round 2.
I love that. It would be.
We're gonna have a solo, which is even more to me. Ever notice when Coffee with Karan, when he would do the rapid fire with just one person, and then he would decide whether they won or lost? We're gonna do that with you, which is more demeaning and it's way better. Yes. Yeah. And then me and I can be like, meh, she could have done better.
Yeah, I've had better. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, guys, for taking the time. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I will see you all again on another episode of Shaam Ki Chai. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Peace. Salam.